Hey, how's it going? Okay, this is another one of my series of reading old newspapers. Um, this is one of my longer videos that I make. I have really short ones that I do that you should check out, which are short and fast. This one, it takes over half an hour. So what we do is I have a newspaper subscription on newspapers.com, and I go through all the newspapers that they have on the website. And check it out. Okay, now what should we check out? That's the question. Whoops, here we go. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I gotta tell you right now, my system it really sucks, and sometimes the audio breaks up and skips and misses sections and off. So if that happens, I'm sorry. I still post it because I have to. Australia, let's try. Yeah, so I'm sorry if it skips and breaks up. Victoria, Melbourne. In Australia they call it Melbourne, but it's Melbourne. Let's try it. The age. Let's not pick something too old. 1950. Let's try. April. Let's do Monday. One. Looks like a strike. Tram men decide not to work. 7-1 vote against return. Melbourne's tram strike, now in its 54th day, is to continue. Yesterday morning, tramway men decide by a 7-1 majority to continue the strike. About 2,500 attended the 2-hour meeting. Mutton as lamb, housewives claim. Mutton is being sold as lamb in many Melbourne butcher shops, and a fact-finding committee should be set up at once to probe conditions in the meat trade. That's it. Must stay in New Guinea. Sydney, Sunday. Australia is in New Guinea and must in all circumstances remain there. The Minister for External Affairs, Mr. Spencer, said this in Sydney tonight. Mr. Spencer said that in both the territory of New Guinea and in Papua, Australia have virtually vital strategic interests which, for security, it must be never relinquished. The minister had just returned from a tour of the Pacific in which he had visited the Philippines, New Guinea, Papua, Manus Island, Rabaul, and Solomons and Noumea. Mr. Spencer said Australia was committed to the gradual policy of teaching to the native peoples of Papua and New Guinea civilized ways of life and the arts of government. Anyways, okay, that's enough for that. I'm trying to go through this faster. What's this? Alright, strike. They're on strike. U.S. corporal gets 5 years on spy charge. An American court-martial at Garmisch, Bavaria, yesterday sentenced Gustav Adolf Mueller, 19 years, a United States Air Force corporal, to 5 years hard labor for attempted spying. The court rejected Mueller's claim that he was only trying to trap some Russian spies when he gave away secret documents to United States Army agents in the belief they were Russian agents. What? United States agents testified that Mueller told them he was turning over American secrets because of his idealism and because he believed in communism. The court also sentenced Mueller to dishonorable discharge. It states Mueller twice attempted suicide during his arrest since October 1949. Oh, okay, let's move on. Rodeo and Vintage Festival. Who's Pound and Lariat Whirls. I don't. That must be the rope, right? Lariat. At Australian Rodeo Championships, a feature of the Vintage Festival held at the weekend in South Australia's Barossa Valley. Lariat. Birth, marriages, deaths. Maybe I'll zoom into that. We'll read one birth. Okay, let's see here. Jackson Fitzgibbon on April 9th at Mena House to Berna and Bill, a daughter, Bernadette Therese. Death. Now there's a death we'll talk about. Austin. On April 14th, dearly beloved grandfather of Arthur and Dorothy, great-grandfather to Norma and Arthur, at rest. What about marriages? Further down? Further down? Continues on page 7. Okay, anyways. Okay, let's go out a bit. Okay, let's check the next page. Okay, let's hear about this thing here. Boy attacked by unknown intruder. Detectives are searching for an intruder who attacked 11-year-old Edward Morecambe while he was alone at his home in Dryburgh Street, North Melbourne, earlier yesterday. His mother found him lying in the garden of the next-door house when she returned home from a party. He was taken to the children's hospital where 21 stitches were inserted in huge gashes on his head. Doctors told police that the injuries appeared to have been inflicted with a heavy blunt instrument. The boy was unable to help detectives in their inquiries. All he can remember is waking up in his bedroom with several cuts on his head, and then staggering next door. The boy's mother returned home at 1:30 a.m. yesterday and found her son shortly afterwards. So far, detectives have been unable to discover any motive for the attack. Senior Detective R. Byrne of North Melbourne CIB is in charge of investigation. Oh, what's this? City Hotel theft. A thief stole 25 pounds from the reception desk of the Hotel Cecil, Lonsdale Street, City, on Saturday night. He grabbed the notes from the counter and escaped into the street before the alarm could be raised. 25 pounds. Driver charged. Cecil George Golightly, 34, East Sale, was killed instantly earlier on Saturday when he was hit by a car while repairing his motorcycle in Raglan Street, Sale. Later, the driver of the car, a member of the RAAF stationed at East Sale, was charged with manslaughter and driving under the influence of alcohol. Mrs. Olive Hickey, 55, High Street, Kilda, was fatally injured when she was... Where's this going? Knocked down by a car in High Street near Alma Road, St. Kilda, on Saturday. She died in hospital yesterday. Her grandson, Keith, 4, who was struck by the same car, was treated with minor abrasions. Oh. Okay, that's 2 men incinerated in blaze after crash. 7 persons were killed during the weekend in road accidents, 5 of which occurred in the county. In the county or the country? Country. I never get that right. The total was the highest for months and supported the police opinion that a lull during the cold, wet Easter was not the result of better road manner or less speeding. Huh. I read out some of them. Cycle hit bridge. Okay. Quest girl going for New South Wales only. Miss Australia, Miss Margaret Hughes, will make her trip abroad, but as the representative only of New South Wales. After a short discussion, the Australian board controlling the Quest decided in Melbourne on Saturday to cancel Miss Hughes' trip because New South Wales had refused to pay its share of the expenses. The trip will not be financed solely by the New South Wales section of the board, with Major Joyce Snelling as Miss Hughes' chaperone. The dispute leading to Saturday's discussion by the Australian board began with Miss Australia's objection to the chaperoning appointed by... Whoops. I can't read it now. They censored it a little bit. Okay. Huh. They didn't censor. They put that there so that, I don't know, this thing here. Ooh, baby girl scalded. Lorraine Joy Davenport, 2, of Dunlaven Road, Mitcham, was scalded on the back when she walked backwards into a bucket of hot water at her home yesterday. Her mother was using the water to wash the floor. The child was admitted to the Children's Hospital. Okay, what else? Is there anything else to that? I guess not. Okay, let's go to the next page. Parisian Ballet here in July. The Champs Elysees Duh, they didn't put duh. Champs-Élysées Parisian Ballet will commence a season in Melbourne on July 5th and expects to continue for about 10 weeks. At the close of the ballet season, Miss Elizabeth Bergner, well known for her acting in London, New York, and Europe, will visit Melbourne and will play in Escape Me Never, probably her best known role. The French ballet company, which comprises 42 people, will be led by ballet, considered the greatest dancer of bluebird in the world today. Babili? Babili? I don't know. Don't know her name. The company owns deep roads scenery in after the season ends in Sydney, the company will go to the United States for a season before returning to Paris. The ballet owns its own theatre in Paris and plays regularly in London. Mr. Abraham Fuller, son of Sir Benjamin Fuller, has been in Paris for months of the visit to Australia. This will be the first ballet to visit Australia. Master Key to Happiness. More than 1,000 persons last night crowded the Majestic Theatre to hear the lecturer, John B. S. Coates, expound the Master Key to Happiness. Mr. Coates is international lecturer for the Theophys social sophical I can't Theosophical Society, I don't know what that word is, which has branches in 52 countries and is at present on the world tour preaching universal brotherhood. After leaving Eton 25 years ago, he entered the family millionaire's sewing cotton business, but left it after a few years to try, as he says, to sew humanity together. Mr. Coates, who is 6 foot 5 inches tall, said the technique for securing real permanent happiness was within the reach of every earnest seeker. He maintained that it was not something merely to know, but something to become. Oh, he's a forward thinker. China famine. Millions still in bad plight. Hong Kong, April 16. An official communist statement admits that China's appalling famine has affected 40 million people since it began last year. Okay, let's go to the next page. She was co-author with D. H. Lawrence. A woman believed to be the only person to have collaborated with the late D. H. Lawrence in writing a novel is now visiting Melbourne. She is Miss M. L. Skinner of West Australia, co-author with Lawrence of The Boy in the Bush. Huh. Well, here's wedding news, I guess. Oh, look at this. The story the world has waited to hear, told by Crofi, their governess, for 17 years. The Little Princesses. An intimate, deep human story of Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret Rose, printed in 9 extra-long installments as told by Crofi, their governess, and lavishly illustrated with her personal photographs. Oh, Queen Elizabeth. What? She's not queen yet? 1950? She's not Queen Elizabeth yet? Here is an authentic, personal account of the lives of royal princess given by Marion Crawford Crofi, who lived with them day by day for 17 years. This book tells of the royal ups and downs of being princesses and very real little girls at the same time. It tells the funny little ways they acquired, some of which stayed with them right through the years of womanhood. There is more than a story. This is history. Here is the story of the death of George V, the abdication of Edward VIII, the coronation of the present king and queen, World War II, Princess Elizabeth's marriage, and the birth of Prince Charles. The story has seen from inside the palace walls. Okay, good enough. Okay, next page. Little cartoons here. This one here, I guess. These rats here. Night falls upon the Grand Hotel. The guests begin to say, well, that's the final paw of bridge. It's time we hit the hay. The rodent rats exchange a wink, likewise a secret grin, and then remark with bogus yawns, I think we'll both turn in. I think that, is that supposed to be funny? Okay, and then there's here, these rabbits. Upstairs the rabbits by their door their watch or vigil keep, and oh, I cannot tell you how they long to go to sleep. They find that what everyone has found since sleeping first began, that when you want to sleep you can't, and when you don't, you can. Huh, okay. Aborigines feast on croc hit by car. Darwin Sunday. Darwin Aborigines feasted on meat which they cut from the 10-foot crocodile run over by a car on the Darwin Alice Springs Highway early this week. Aborigines? Aborigines? That means aboriginals? Is that what they're trying to get at? Team of 200 for Helsinki. 150,000 pounds needed for 1952 Olympics. The Australian Olympic Federation plans to send a team of 200 competitors, officials, and observers to the Olympic Games in Helsinki in 1952. The estimated cost is 150,000 pounds. Means of raising the money were discussed at the annual conference of the AOF in Melbourne at the weekend. A subcommittee was appointed to meet in Sydney as soon as possible to discuss finances and allocation of money raised. The chairman, Mr. H. G. Alderson, said he and his vice chairman, Mr. H. R. Weir, had been instructed by the executive to approach the Prime Minister, Mr. Menzies, to find what aid and the federal government would give. Okay. Oh, look at this. 102nd birthday celebrated. Ballarat, Sunday. Mrs. Rebecca Hornsby, who has been an inmate of Queen Elizabeth Benevolent Home, for the past 3 years, today celebrated her 102nd birthday at a special family gathering at the home of her daughter, Mrs. R. Smith, of Wilson Street, Ballarat. Mrs. Hornsby was born at Strathfalbin, SA, South Australia, I guess, and came as a young woman to Nil District, where she and her husband engaged in farming for many years. The latter part of her life has been spent at Mildura. She is the mother of 12 children, of whom 11 are now living, and she has more than 300 descendants. 50 members of their family, including Mr. and Mrs. C. H. Hornsby, and their family of 5, who came from Brisbane, attended the reunion. The old lady, although extremely feeble, still keeps fairly good health. Her second son, Mr. Thomas Hornsby, of Ballarat, who is 74 years, was chairman of the family gathering. Chairman. Okay, let's skip to page 8 so we can get through this. Well, look at this. The want ads. Cleaner. Let's zoom in a bit here. Drivers. Drivers required for general deliveries, permanent and good condition with good conditions. Swallow and Ariel Limited. Biscuit manufacturers. Cleaner. Female. Light work. Saturdays free. Apply to manager. Okay. Look at this guy. Cleaner. Windows. Must be experienced. £10 per week. Before 9 a.m. Okay. $10. Woo. Look at this guy. Butcher, shop hand, experience, good wages, slattery, gardener, what else? Boy, lad, 15 to 16 years of age, for hardware section. Good opportunity. Apply personally to the staff superintendent. The Mutual Store Limited. Baker, permanent position. Good conditions for young tradesmen. Apply Golden Crust Bakery. Blacksmith, for ornamental ironwork. Electrical mechanics, A and B grade, 2 permanent men for industrial and house installation. Excellent condition, good wages and permanent positions. What are these machinists? Storemen. Girls, 15 and over, for safety match factory. Quick advancement to piecework. Girls 15 years starting at £3.10. What's that? 10, I don't know. Weekly. C.F. Duncan and Company. Girls to learn manufacturing of ladies' high-class garments. Ideal conditions, good wages. Apply. Fashion Craft Garment Company. Okay, let's go to the near the end. 12. Let's try 12. Page 12. Holy crap! I've taken a half hour to do this. I can't go through. In Dar Darange, Darange on left, and Dar kick. Eyes glued to the ball. H paint 2 photos. B. League club at final practice. This must be the sporting page. Oh, okay. Let's try another paper. I don't have much time. Okay, Melbourne. The age. No. Hamilton. Hamilton Spectator. I don't know where. I've never heard of Hamilton. 1870. Let's try. April. Let's do Saturday. Hamilton Spectator. Okay, let's see here. New winter notice. New winter goods. The choicest novelties of the season at Horwitz and Jacoby's. Drapery, millinery, clothing and journal store. Victoria Hotel. This looks like all advertisements. Okay, let's go to page 2 quickly. Sheep for sale. 1,500 full mouth ewes. Ewes. In good condition. In lots to suit purchasers. Apply to O.W. O'Reilly. Sheep. Well, of course, Australia and New Zealand, I guess, are known for their sheep too. Saturday at the yards at 12 o'clock. James L. Learmonth will sell young cattle and cows, horses, pigs, carcasses, carcass mutton, sundries. I don't know what that means. What's this? Okay, let's move on to the next page, I guess. Let's move to the next page. The hell, man? It's like, what's this? To carpenters and bricklayers. Tenders are required immediately for the erection of a shop in Thompson Street for Mears R and W Younger. Plans and specifications to be seen at the house of William Smith, architect, Gray Street. Huh. Tenders. What are tenders? What's this? Tenders invited for making a large dam on the farm of North Hamilton known as McLean's Swamp. McLean's Swamp. For particulars, apply to Mr. Jones Cameron on the farm. Tenders to be delivered to him by Saturday, 30th April. Today is the 23rd, so in a week. The labor question. To the editor of the Spectator, Sir, is your... Well, let me get closer in here. In your publication of the 9th, I was both amused and surprised by some remarks from your Hotspur correspondent, particularly those upon the subject of immigration and parliamentary representation. I have no doubt the two gentlemen whose names he mentioned would make most valuable members, but surely for your correspondent himself, if he would only take such a political charlatan as Mr. Roebuck for his model, backed with the golden Bath brick to which he refers, would make a far better one. Does it not occur to him that the very ordeal through which an aspirant for parliamentary honours has to pass would prevent any man with the feeling of gentlemanly, honest independence from coming forward? I have no doubt keeps many such a one from aspiring to the honour. I don't know what I'm reading. Look at your public house meetings, badgered by one and then by another, and finding drinks for the lot. I contend that more than half the number return to the house go to Melbourne with promises to support this job and that local want, with a thorough conviction in their minds of the utter impossibility of their ever being carried out. I don't know what I'm reading. In his views upon immigration, does it occur to him that the main cause of the want of labor is its cost? Can he explain why, through there is no little difference in the value of the necessity of life between the old country and Victoria, yet that labor should range from 200 to 300% more than here than at home? In reality, I firmly believe a poor man can live cheaper here than in England and far more comfortably, and yet he values his labor 200 and 300% more here than at home. I don't know what I'm reading. Okay, let's check another page here. What's this? The wool sales. The London wool sales. From the Argus. The efforts of the joint New South Wales and Victorian committee that undertook to investigate and report upon the present mode of selling Australian wool in London have already proved useful and are likely to prove still more useful in the future, as our renders will recollect, an agitation was commenced more than a year ago for a reform of the wool trade, when it was confidentially asserted that the Australian producers suffered much loss through faults in the system than in vogue. The principal objection urged against it was that there were only 4 periodical sales in the year, whereas there ought to be 12, which objection we dissented from at the time it was made, considering it without any real foundation. The subject has been thoroughly investigated since then, and it has been found that our view was correct. The evidence of the most experienced wool brokers in London has proven that it is only by holding the periodical sales at distant intervals that a full attendance of foreign buyers can be secured, and that a full attendance of buyers and resultant keenness and competition. Whoops, I lost my space. Are the only sure mode of realizing the full value of the wool. In October last, the selling brokers, in consultation with a little body known as the New South Wales and Van Diemen's Land Association, which sense to have been doing useful service on behalf of Australian wool growers during the past 34 years, though after so modest a fashion that it is scarcely known to the public until recent transactions brought it to the front. Determined to hold 5 sales instead of 4 in the current year, as an experiment, but the year had scarcely commenced when an impression obtained in the trade what the change would not prove beneficial. We have gone over the mass of evidence taken by the Joint Committee, and after making due allowance for that conservatism which opposes all innovations upon established usages, and which may have influenced the evidence of the brokers to some extent, we are still in the opinion that there is no present necessity for increasing the frequency of wool sales. Okay. Wow. That's enough. Selling of wool. It's important in Australia, right? Australia and New Zealand. Okay. Back to the print shop. Okay, I hope it didn't stutter and break up the audio. Well, that was fun. And in Australia, and then Melbourne, murders, deaths. There was like 10 or 11 deaths. That was awful. It was up for the month. Woo. Okay, that's it. This video is long, sorry. Yeah, I get into it. And then it takes forever to upload, but okay. Okay, signing off. Remember this. Live your life and see what happens. Okay, later.